That wasn't so, because it seems like several years ago when we did these, they had, but you don't think they ever did?
I'm probably just didn't.
Yeah.
You've been using it longer than I do, so.
I think Montgomery was the first, but.
Is there some way that, how do you keep a person from not responding multiple times?
You can't.
Okay. You'll see it on the spreadsheet if it
you
sticks
could,
in.
right. If you can, there's a checkbox at the top that says either grab their login or whatever, but that would be an SNU person that you're grabbing their login, and then you would know that they had done it twice. But a non-SNU, I don't think you would know.
Because they could put in a different name or whatever. So if you're doing it for student projects, that keeps them from doing it. You just require them to have their
login, and then it records it. I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know if y'all would want to do this or not, but forms can be embedded onto a web page. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to assume everyone knows what that word embed means. So when you go, the form is there. It's not a link they click to take it, but it's like, it's there. So on web pages, well, Moodle or My Courses is really just a web page. So we have the HTML code and all that, and I don't know that anyone would ever want to do that, but it might be to start a week or something of your class. You just want a little 2-question form, and you don't want a link they click on. You just want them to go to week 12 and answer these questions and then go from there. It works really well on mobile devices, so I think that's really nice. They can just click on the iPad or whatever and go from there.
Now, if they embed it, can it also be where they can see the instant response?
No. No one sees responses on Google Forms except you, the creator. Yep. All right, so let's take a poll. One reason I wanted to do the poll, I want y'all to see how these work on Adobe Connect. So if you have our room up, answer that, rate your knowledge and skill level of Google Forms. What is a Google Form? I've been afraid to try. My knowledge is limited. I'm pretty good, but hope to learn something new. I'm a power user and just came for the cookies. So, we've got some limited, and I know Howard can't. Howard, I'll answer for you. What would your answer be?
Oh, I'll just pick the third one, whatever it is.
I've used them, but my knowledge is limited.
Oh, it's even more than that. Let's see, it's even.
I'm pretty good?
No.
I've been afraid to try?
I'm probably the number one.
What is a Google Form? Okay, we need to know number one.
That's where I'm starting. Now this one is feeding back results.
Yes, this isn't a Google Form. This is just our polling feature of Adobe Connect.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
A little bit misleading, but I wanted you to see how you can. Now, as the creator of a Google Form, I could go into class and bring up my spreadsheet and show the class. Now, so many of you responded this or whatever. Okay, are we done?
Almost sudden cheated and answered the last one, or next to the last.
Only 2.
I know, but it looks worse like
Makes it look worse, yes. All right, are we through with anyone else still talking? Oh, okay, sorry. That's okay.
I wasn't paying attention.
Heather, does that mean you're not a power user?
I am not a power user. I'm a frustrated power user.
Is this what you use it like?
I'm afraid when
Yes.
oh no, it's still there. Have you done it now?
Actually, Cherise, no, it's still connecting.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave that up and
Give me
see.
just a second.
Has anybody been able to bring it up on an iPad?
What?
She didn't get that link to work.
Oh, you do have to download an Adobe Connect app, I think. Yes. And it works really nice on the Adobe Connect app. You can even present from an iPad, you know, as the presenter and everything.
All right, I did it.
You got it? All right, let's see what she could. We have one of everything now, so are you I'm pretty good, but hope to learn something new?
Indeed.
You are good. She's one of our presenters. She's going to help us here a little bit.
I am?
Yes, you sent me the links and everything.
Those are Cherise forms.
Oh, you stole my work.
Oh, I see why you're here. She's hoping to relearn something. Okay, well, you know, when you do a survey, sometimes you see a drop-down box, sometimes you can type, all that. So these are the different question types that Google Forms has. The greatest problem I think students have is understanding the difference between multiple choice and a checkbox. You would think that is a given, but they'll ask a question like, do you like the food in Sodexo? Yes, no, and they'll give a checkbox. Well, anytime I get those, I check both, just to make a point. Don't give them checkboxes if you want to force an answer. You always want to use multiple choice. So checkbox means they, you know, choose all that apply kind of thing. Choose from a list is the drop down, the little arrow, and everything would be there. That's definitely forcing a response. I love grids. I used to be scared of them. Cherie's looking at me like, what are you talking about? So I'm going to show you some grids. They are, especially for rubrics, grids are fabulous to do a rubric. So we're going to do that. Scale is like the Likert scale, you know, 1 to 10, 1 to 5. You choose the range. The only thing, it's probably good, but in Google Form, they only let you say the first and last. Like what's a 1 and what's a 5. You can't do the others. So it's like, I hate the food, I love the food, then the people choose. Okay, text just gives them a little box to type in, paragraph gives them a big box to type in. Those are your question types. All right, here's the 10 tips, and some of you that have used them think if you have anything to add to any of these or any others, but Tamara, I saw her do this. She doesn't even know I'm going to say this. And I don't remember if it was in a video you did for class or I overheard you telling a class. But when you do a Google form, I know I'm out of video right now, but there's 2 lines. One is called question. I don't remember what the first one, but I know the next one is called help text. And I used to always put my question in the top and then my help little like choose all that apply. Well, I don't do that now after listening to Tamara. And because of something else I'm going to show you in a minute, if you will just put like Q1 for question 1 here in the top, and then put your actual question in the help text, it will be better. And when it all dumps in the spreadsheet, you will see what's on the top line, and that's going to be real important. So what I tell the students is put something like, if they were asking that question about Sodexo, put food, maybe, something to tell them what that question was about. But if you have this big old long question in your spreadsheet, you're going to have this big old long, so it gets real confusing. So I won't spend as long on all tips as that one. Be sure you send the URL of the live form. This is probably the absolute #1 mistake people make and students make. They will always, because when you create your form, you're in this editing mode, and then when you save it, it's the spreadsheet, ready to accept responses. So if you go back to open it, you get the spreadsheet, and you have to click on form, go to live form, or form edit. And students will always go back and they'll open their thing and they'll send the URL of that. And so that means their respondents get a spreadsheet. So if students use it, probably the #1 thing, and I always tell them, send it to a friend first. Then if they say, yeah, I got your form, then it worked. I like to take advantage of themes. You don't have to, but themes is just kind of the, you know, the look of it. And there's 97 of them. I'm kind of tired of them. I Googled yesterday, tried to find some new ones, and people all over the internet are complaining because Google won't let you, Jody could probably figure out a way to hack into it, but they won't let you like create your own, or there's not more out there. So anyway, but there are some, I mean, there's Christmas things and, you know, all different things. I already mentioned that the branching question is only possible with multiple choice. I've already cautioned you against the checkbox. Okay, there's going to be 3 checkbox choices at the top when you're in editing. When you're creating your form, there's 3 checkboxes. Maybe somebody can help me remember. I know one says gather their SNU data, their login name, and all that. What are the other 2?
Let them edit.
Is what?
Let them edit.
Edit their submission.
Oh, let them edit their submission. Okay.
And I can't remember what the
And then
other
also the
other one is.
So look at those
Send them
very.
a response.
Oh, yeah, send them a copy of their
Oh,
response.
no, that's at the bottom.
It is?
I think you can force it to do that.
Oh,
I think maybe there's a
really?
checkbox that
Oh,
forces it.
okay. Might be-
Because it is it's
Well, we'll
either that
look
or
for
it
it.
sends you a copy of the response.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Okay,
Something like that.
Yeah, it is about responses.
okay, good. So choose though very carefully, notice those, and there's some are defaulted on and off, so you'll really want to watch those. I had students like in ours, I remember what we were doing with the learning community several years ago, what denomination you were raised in and how you felt about religion and things, and so we insisted they make it anonymous. And so they were not going to collect usernames, so they had to deselect that. Well, the first one I got said, and I even made them put in their little box at the top, this is an anonymous survey. So it all said that, this is an anonymous survey. And the first one I got from a student said, please take my anonymous survey. And then below it, it said, your name, Rogers, will be gathered. So they totally missed that. All right. Think through whether each question should be required. You know, obviously if it's a test or something like that, you would. Take advantage of the notify and embed. And when I first started these, I thought, you know, Google Forms is so easy. I came up with 6 tips, so I said, I'm going to make it 7 tips. Sure, I came up with 7. Then I ended up thinking of some more, but it really is easy. Remember, this is probably a big one. Don't be surprised the first time you do it when your form opens in a spreadsheet. Because we get calls and they say, I did that form, and then the next time you go back, it's a spreadsheet. It's not my form. So there you have a menu bar, you know, and everything, and one of them says forms, edit form, or forms, go to live form, whatever you're wanting to do. And Michelle came up with this idea, and I love it. If you're using a form for multiple classes, so we've done some like for professional studies or for online classes, that we're using that form to gather information for the class. Well, that's fine if you're the only one teaching it. You know, next time you clear out their data, use it again. Well, now that we're starting to grow and other people are using the same form, then that's not always going to work. So what we've started doing is, Michelle said, well, let's name master in all caps at the end. So we name it master, and then that way nobody can use that one. You have to copy it, and they're so easy to copy. Yeah.
One of the things, and I don't know that you and I have talked about this, but that I think we're going to try to do as we develop courses is that any Google Docs that are part of that course, you share those with orc@mail.snu.edu and actually then make us the owner of that.
Yeah.
So that way we always have a clean copy of that form, or at least we always have access to it. So as an adjunct works with your course, then we can help them clean those things out or whatever, instead of having to email the designer for permission or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be good. And something I'm going to show in a minute, I've been getting into templates, and we may even want to go the template route for these. But anyway, for now, I love the master. So any other things that y'all just really run up against that you think I need to know?
One of the things that I've found, if it's important to me in the way the questions report out, then I need to think what order I build my form in. Because even when you rearrange your questions on the form, the spreadsheet doesn't rearrange, and then you get this horrible warning. Like the world is going to end if you rearrange the columns on your spreadsheet. So you think, what if I will make the world end?
Yes.
What if this is the Mayans' revenge?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think through the order of my questions and build it the way I want it to report
Instead of trying to
out.
change later. Yeah, that's
Now,
good.
when you say that you create a master, have you guys figured out a way of clearing the spreadsheet when you do the copy? Because that's what Cherie and I have been having problems with, is how to clear the copy of all of the stuff from the last time.
Yes, if you make a copy, you can go ahead and just delete. You can delete the rows. And used to, it left the pie chart junk. I mean, it would show all those, but it doesn't anymore.
So something has changed.
So I think something has changed, and now.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, because it just would go into our spreadsheet, and then it would.
Then your responses.
We have these responses, and then we would have like 10 blank lines, and then we would have.
Oh no, you do have to delete it. You have to delete
You
your
can't
rows.
just clear the content.
No, you have to delete.
Delete the rows.
I think we did that too. We got some random So maybe it was
I
before
think
all
it-
those
yeah.
little changes.
Yeah, used to, I would delete the rows, and if I went to the pie chart, you know, and I checked it yesterday,
Yeah.
and they would all still be there. It was like, there's nobody there, but now they have. If you delete those rows, it deletes your,
It's been,
yeah.
Okay,
Four
so you
months
have to
and
actually
try
go
that.
into your spreadsheet
Yes.
and delete.
Yep.
Everything
And like
you
you
have
said,
in
don't
it.
just delete the content.
Yeah,
Highlight like
there's-
1 through 20, the
We just create a new
numbers.
form every time.
And then
because
write-
if
Oh,
it's
we
too
need to-
complicated.
No, yeah, let Michelle help
Okay.
you.
Yeah, there's clear contents and then there's delete rows, and you want to delete rows.
Delete the
'Cause if you
rows.
clear contents, all that stuff's still
Okay,
there.
Yeah.
good to know.
Good. Okay, we're not going to spend time on these, but I thought, well, what if somebody hates Google? You know, here's a couple others. Misty, I think you found this too, didn't you, Brent?
I'll have to see it.
Years ago, I'm not going to bring it up, but anyway, Misty would be one, if you have one question you want to ask your class or embed in something, it's just one question, and it does show automatic. So as they answer, they would see how others respond. So it's a kind of an interesting one, and then Poll Everywhere we've done many times. I love it for a face-to-face class. It doesn't.
That's one too, Poll Everywhere, where they can only answer once.
Yes,
You can
it's so
click a
many,
box.
and it's they would see, I love it for a face-to-face class, and they see the immediate response. They can do it on a phone, they can computer, so many different ways. So but it take too long to, that's enough. All right, so here's the steps, and I'm almost through the PowerPoint. We're going to bring it up and show you. But the steps are, I noticed in that video, he said, go to a Google spreadsheet, click on form, create form. I've never done it that way. I always go into my Google account, our email account, click on and then click on Drive. It gets you to all your Google documents, and then click on Create, and then there's like documents, spreadsheets, presentations. So form is just one of the type of Google documents, and then from there you add your questions, choose a theme, and share it out. So, all right, let me now share my desktop, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. Then Michelle and Tamara and Heather are going to show some of
We're going to do the
theirs.
rest of the presentation, they just didn't know.
Right.
I thought you were just gonna ask me questions.
Share my
she
screen.
asked you to send her something and I did. I read it. She's,
We wondered
I'll
why y'all
bring it up,
didn't
and you
email us
can
your
just, I just want
PowerPoint.
you to tell us about it. All right.
there was a lot of incredible.
Yeah. Okay, let me go to my email first. I want to show you, this is, I think, kind of fun. But I find things fun that other people may not find fun. I'm going to show you a one that I did as a rubric, and it's called Resume Rubric Sample. This one, okay. So you can, so notice I opened it and here it's a spreadsheet. And I've been doing, notice these are all me because I'm the one that's taking it all these times. But notice what it gathers. It gathered not just my login name, it gathered my email address. That's really important for something I'm going to show you in a minute. Notice my number 1, number 2, 3, etc. And so here were my responses, but let's look at the live form first. So remember I said it's open to the spreadsheet. I could edit if I wanted to do it again or go to live form. So let's do one. Let's say Howard Culbertson was in this technical comm class. He was in OL number 2. And so I graded his resume, and so I did this as a grid. We were talking about grid. So now this is a one grid, which is kind of odd. Usually grids are used for a lot of things here. Could I just knock off it? And then you would, you know what I'm trying to say? Like a lot of text over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever there. And so as I answer that one, I'm choosing, you know, that's how most grids are. Like that's how our student evaluations are. They choose, the teacher was nice, the teacher did this, the teacher whatever. But I chose to do this as a rubric with only one item per grid, and then there's the grade that they get. So the resume contains your contact information with mail, phone, and email on all pages. Yeah, Howard did that. And I get to the next, he didn't quite do that, he did that. And then I want you to see how, because let's see, it's not neat and attractive, Howard. You need to work on it.
Okay.
No, so we only got 2 on
Are we
that.
violating FERPA here?
This
I thought you gave me a bad enough on accuracy, like I put in extra dots that I don't have.
References, yeah, he had all of his references, okay? So this isn't something a student submits. I mean, this is me grading an assignment, okay? So I'm just going to click submit, and it's going to put it in there. Now, this isn't something that the form did. I added a column called grade, and then I just added it. So I added columns E, whatever, through N, whatever. But now that my formula's there, I can grab that down and we'll see what he made. So he made a 90 on that. Okay?
Good job.
So, yeah, very nice.
So you went into your form and
Added.
set
In the spreadsheet.
into the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yes.
then just added that
Yes.
column
Added
and then
them.
put in your
Mhm.
formulas like a regular Excel
Yes,
spreadsheet.
exactly. At this point, we're just a regular express. I also added a column called feedback. And what was it he didn't do so great? You need
Michelle
work
remembers.
on me.
Well, I was disturbed.
Okay.
Worried about his retirement.
So now I have these, notice it gathered the email. Now what if this was a test that the student had taken and not a rubric? It would have gathered their email address, right? All right, so I'm going to take you to the next step. Now at this point, for what I'm going to do now is a mail merge. It's going to send all the students an email with their grade and my feedback. Okay? So I just added another, what do you call it, sheet at the bottom. And I named the first one data, I named the second one mail. Okay, but before I do this, I want to tell you that this did say, where it says email, it did say notification or something like that. The automatic thing wasn't the word email. It has to be the word email. And all of these titles have to be one word, no spaces. So that's why I did that Q1 and all that, or number 1 there. All right, so I added, I changed my word notify, or whatever that was. I may have said username. I think it said username.
so.
Yeah. I changed that to email. I added the grade column, added them up. I added the feedback column. That's all I've added. Then on the mail, okay, the beauty of this is I did it once and it works, so I copied and pasted. Once you get this, you can copy that to as many as you want, okay? And then this is like the key of what you have to have. So, and I put in yellow what I would want to change every time, because most of them you're just going to leave. So from, who's it from? I want this email to say from Prof. Rogers. Subject template, the subject of the email, what do I want that to be? So it just says resume. Okay, the rest of it I didn't change, but here, dear, I want it to say first and last. As a part, I don't know if you remember on that form, but I gathered there were some things I typed in. So I typed in, see there's Howard Culbertson. Remember, I typed in his name. So I want this email to say, dear. Now message template, this is what their message is going to be. So you just put in brackets, which field do you want to gather that information? So dear Howard Culbertson, it's going to grab that. Then I put a space in between. I probably wouldn't have to, but it's just going to be a paragraph, right? So I said, thank you for uploading your resume. You received, put in brackets, grade, because, remember my field name is grade. So it's going to pull Howard's grade of 90 there. And here is my feedback. Then I put in bracket the word feedback. Okay, so it's going to grab that. So that's all I have to do, and then I'm going to go to, and these are all going to go to me because they all have my email. Mail merge, val merge, and I'm putting it, it's saying what's template, and it's the word mail. Why do you think I'm putting mail?
Because you want it to be mail.
That's a good guess. I have 2 tabs. Basically, it's saying which tab is pulling your data. Data or mail. First ones I did, I kept putting data. Pull the data, and it wouldn't work. Finally, I realized it wanted the stuff from that tab. So I'm putting in mail. And it should tell me running the script.
So val merge is a script that you have to
Yes.
install on your
Yes.
spreadsheet
Yes.
every time.
Unless he wants you to copy it, you wouldn't, but
Okay.
the first time you do your form,
So you
okay?
create your master.
Yes, create your master, and then it's there. All right, now I'm going to go to my email, and I should start there. Look, here they come. Joe Smith, Cindy Tree. These are all the ones that were on my thing. So let's see how one looks. We should get Howard's in a minute. So that's how it would look. Dear Joe Smith, and it says, remember it pulled, who sent it? Rogers. Okay, so, Dear Joe Smith, thank you for uploading your resume. You received 88 out of 100 possible points. Here's my feedback. Remember to show you understand the employer. Okay, isn't that neat? Okay, so look, I have 9 emails. So let's see if Howard's, there's Howard's. Dear Howard Culbertson, blah, blah, blah.
Where's the Val merge?
Okay, I'll show you. So if I go back here, what you would do is you create a second sheet by just your plus sign here, right? Because it only comes with one sheet. And then you do insert script. And then search, I did a search for mail merge. And then Val merge is going to be down there. And then
And it's automatically there.
it'll be there. And then you click and you have to authorize and, you know, just run it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then you just Val merge run it. Okay, so now let me show you one more thing, then we're going to have these other examples because you might want to just steal mine. Okay, so what I found out was I've never used the templates. Has anyone used the templates of, you know how you can go in Word and get a resume template or something? Well, we've all used those, but there are Google Doc templates for everything. So you could go to create, and instead of form, go down to create something from template. And here's the fun thing I found out. We have SNU templates that I didn't know. So we now have one because I put this one in there.
Thank you for building our library.
Yes, and here we go. So we could add, now you could go to My Templates and notice on the right, submit a template, but Southern Nazarene templates. And now a template, they have set it so you can't accidentally, you know, use somebody. It's like the master thing. That's where I'm thinking we might want to think through something like this. So I'm going to just click on, I want that template. So it's going to copy it. You'll notice the name will even be copied. So y'all could get this one if you want it because I want to show you. I've already put that little, it's everything I was just showing you. So it's going to already have that little code stuff off to the right. Then you could just copy and paste it or whatever. And I hate that it opened like that. Because from here, I don't know how to get back. It immediately wants me to edit it. So let's name it 3 and then see if I can go to mine and find it. So if I go here, did I put a space? I don't remember.
No.
Okay. Nothing matched. And then I don't think that one was called sample, so. Okay, master, sample, template. Now, I don't know how to get to it. Oh, anyway, if you can figure out how to get back to your spreadsheet, one, you won't have as many, so it should be in yours. Should be my recent, right?
If you save.
You know, I
save.
didn't save it.
I think that's
I didn't
the only
save it.
reason.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I go here and I say, use this template.
Takes a little while to make a copy, huh? Because it's
so.
copying the spreadsheet on
Yeah.
your second page. Yeah.
I guess so. Okay, 3, and then
That's
save
a
it.
lot.
You're right, Michelle. I didn't save it. Okay.
Does it let you on more actions get back to your spreadsheet from there? I
That
don't.
would be good.
I can't remember.
It doesn't
No,
look
sorry.
like it does. Okay, so then if I go back to mine and I go to recent, copy of, that's probably it, right? Resume Rubric should be copy of, yeah. All right, there it is. So then if you look at the bottom, mail, those little codes are going to be there. So you could copy and paste that into yours or whatever. And then I even made just a little notes kind of for myself to remember kind of the tips and tricks of using templates. Remember to rename your questions without spaces in one word. And I hate to tell you, but remember how we talked about the help text? that's going to show up too. So when you go to your spreadsheet, it's going to say number 1, and your question's going to be in parentheses or brackets under it. I just went number 1, whom, tab, number 2, number 3, tab, just rename them. But you do have to rename them in your spreadsheet. They must be one word without spaces. Watch capitalization. If you said email, if you named your email, your, what's it called, username, email without an capital E, be sure when you put that bracket to grab it, it's like code, it has to match exactly. And be sure you have an email call. Okay, so I think that is enough of all that. So let's build our template library. And I have a Word document here with, I have these samples up, and y'all can sit there and talk or come up here, whatever. But Michelle has some really neat ones, so let's bring up one of hers. This is the getting to know you one, Michelle. Why isn't it? Control, click.
This doesn't want to cooperate with you. It's not.
There, I probably will have 12 of them open now. Opening an Internet Explorer.
I was
Okay.
going to say, I just opened it in.
I know, which we use so much. Okay, Michelle, tell us about this.
So this is just the one that I use in Comp 2. I use different ones in my other classes that are similar, but we do this on the first or second day of class, and it's just general questions. Sometimes I let the students shout out a question or two that they'd like me to add to the form, or responses that they think I should have on there. And one component that they don't always agree, like they don't understand that we're adding is we're going to be doing some group work in that class. And so I asked some questions like, do you like to do your work ahead of time? Do you think that you're a leader? And those kinds of questions. So then, once we're done, they take the form right, they fill out the form right then.
During class?
Right, yes, while we're in class, and then we pull up the results and have a conversation then from that. And the first time I used it, it made me laugh so hard because every single one of them was laid back, waited till the last minute, yet they all considered themselves leaders
and
leaders, cared a lot about their learning. I mean, it was just really funny, but everything that could have something to do with procrastination or putting things off, they all marked that. But they cared about their learning. I just loved that.
That is great.
They're all on the same page.
So I wished them luck on group work.
do you use that to put them in groups then?
Nope.
Like, you don't worry about that?
It's more of a, this is who we are as a community kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is something that I've started using when they're writing papers. It's important when we're doing revision, especially if I've given them feedback, that I know that they've engaged in that feedback before they move on to the next step of the draft. So this is for a specific paper, and I was finding out, okay, did you have this, yes or no? If I marked in your draft that you did not, then you write no and you tell me what your plan is. So I have a similar one that they do after, I have a similar one that they do as like a reflection on their writing process of a paper too. So that helps me to see also what they're doing.
Okay, and this is a spreadsheet, I think of, okay. I had this one purposely open, it's the candidates to the spreadsheet, because I thought you might want to show them the responses.
Okay.
And
this was in Comp 2 last semester. Of course, everything was political in there. So they had come up with what they felt. We were doing an evaluation essay, and we were practicing as a group, and so they came up with what they felt were the most important criteria or values. And so they marked, according to the research that they were doing in their groups in class, they marked what they felt. And so then we looked at this and discussed it. I love this screen right here.
Yes.
This is what makes surveys work for me. And it informs our classroom discussions. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
you see that they didn't all see the same, see it the same way, or
Right.
And did you see how easy that was? And can I get back to that? Yeah, from her spreadsheet, which is when you open it, that's what you get. Remember, form, show summary of responses, and there you
That's
are. She didn't write formulas or do
No, I
nothing.
did not make a single pie chart.
No,
Right,
nothing.
or graph, or whatever they're called.
And so that's what Tamara's going to talk about, that when the students do it, create one, and they have these charts, and then we encourage them to, it's a minimum, take a screenshot of that. I usually make the Excel recreate that to get the same response, but, okay, very good, thank you. All right, so I think Heather, peer evaluations.
Well, this one's kind of a work in progress because I almost deleted it yesterday when it failed to work in class. So for Modern World, and we're doing this both with our face-to-face and our online section, they have group presentations that they are doing. And so what this particular one was intended to do, and we'll see what happens next week, is that as the groups finished presenting yesterday, the students pulled out their laptops and were to evaluate the two groups that presented. However, I had everything set to required, which prevented them all of the surveys for the groups for the next 3 days are all on the same form. And I had them all required, so they couldn't submit because they had only filled out the first two.
Okay.
And then I also, that's why I know that there is that edit function, because that edit box has to be checked for them to submit a first time and be able to go back into it later.
Okay,
So if you require responses, then that works.
I don't know. We're going to find out on Tuesday.
Because they're not required now, so you've changed it, haven't you?
I've changed everything to not required.
Yeah, if you would know if this question was required, there'd be like a red star.
Yeah, so I got all of those
Okay.
off. We'll see what happens, because there isn't a way to, it didn't dawn on me until yesterday that there's not a way to click on save and do later.
Yeah.
Or if there is, I don't know, I couldn't find it. So, but I'm hoping that by checking that, can edit it afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean, and what you could do is require today's and then go in and change it, right? To just require the.
I would forget.
I just went in and, I thought I'll just take everything
Well, they're
off.
probably not gonna wanna.
Go back up. Heather, what's the purpose of the first question there? Which group presented first, which group presented? Do the students have to answer that?
Yes,
And
because
what-
I'm hoping that they know
what if
from
they-
having watched the presentation, did they just watch something on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, or did they just watch a presentation on the war in Afghanistan?
What if they answer incorrectly?
Well, then I know they're not paying attention.
Okay.
And so that,
That's a clue.
that's kind of a clue that maybe
That's
they're
more
not paying
But
attention.
that's input to you, not necessarily, doesn't reflect, does it kick out their evaluation?
No, it shouldn't. In that spreadsheet, it's going to show that I'm going to have, because there's 33 in the class, I might have 32 that all have the same answer.
Yeah.
And which one of these is not like the others?
Okay.
Which then might make me suspect that maybe they weren't paying as much attention. Maybe they got confused, that there's something going on there. But it was kind of more to force them to stop and think, okay, which group was this?
Gotcha.
Because there are 2 or 3 going each day. So I wanted them to think about.
Okay.
And it doesn't look like you're gathering their name.
I wanted it to be anonymous,
Okay.
but I may have to change that in order to allow them to get back in to edit the responses.
Right, I think you will. Yeah.
Because I went through and looked at the tutorials, and it says that even if you're not collecting their username, they could get back in, but it looks like they still have to have that window open.
Yeah.
That if they submitted, it would say, thank you for submitting, do you want to edit your response? So I think I'm going to have to turn the user.
Because there's a little
Username
checkbox
on.
here at the bottom that I love, and when I don't see it, I know, oh, they're not collecting respondents. And the little checkbox will say, send me a copy of the form, which is one, like this training form, you'll want to do that if you care, if you took notes and there was something you want to remember.
Well, I was thinking I wanted them to feel comfortable in giving me their honest opinion, and that maybe anonymity would do that.
Right.
But in order to get them to fill out the entire form, I think I am going to have to collect their names and just tell them, be as honest as you can be without being anonymous. And then this is the Gen Ed application that several of you have seen. Michelle is becoming a pro at filling this thing out. So this is, and this is why Cherie and I had a question earlier, because as up till this point, for the last 4 semesters, we've created a new form every semester because we couldn't figure out how to get rid of the old forms.
Well, I mean, depending on what you're doing, we do that, like for our training form, we create a new one every year because I want to know who did training that year, who did training that year. So I copy it and do a new one.
And then Cherie's the one that trained me on, as Michelle said, you've got to plan ahead and put the questions in the order. Because on a form like this, it matters what order the questions are in. And so if you're moving questions around and then you go into your spreadsheet, it has the potential of making absolutely no sense at all. So that was something.
That's good. Okay.
Cherie, do you have anything else to add? Because this is just as much your form as it is mine.
Well, you were saying up here that help in that other box, there are some, like that question at the bottom right there.
This one has the help text.
Yeah, and the real light. So that's help. So what you were saying was, in that incident, you would take off the top part?
I would shorten the top part and put the big question here. But depending on your theme, this would, if it's grayed out like that, you may not want to do that. Most of the themes I don't think are gray.
Okay.
And you don't have to, if you're not going to be doing mail merge, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And if you don't care on your spreadsheet, if you can figure it out, it doesn't matter. But you know that.
Because it does make that spreadsheet.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
When there is a long question, it does make that real big, but.
Like assignment, so like this could just be assignments and then the whole thing there. And then when you're looking, oh, that's our question about assignments. It just helps you at a glance in your spreadsheet know. Okay, well Tamara, I kind of did the opposite for Tamara. I asked her to show us one that students did. This is a group of students created this one. Now dancing.
Don't freak out. Yes, on dancing. This was from the Arts and Cultural Learning Community. It was one of the integrated assignments. So in Doug's Christian Faith and Life class, they were talking about lifestyle issues and things like that. They were discussing that in class. And then for Peggy's comp class, they had to write a survey and response paper. So as part of the technology, I had them create surveys to gather information. Most of their information came from people here on campus. They emailed primarily to students and stuff here on campus, but they surveyed people and got all that information together, went to their spreadsheet and looked at that information, kind of digested it, and then created that survey and response paper for Peggy.
I don't know, I think I gave, I don't guess I have your response. I don't have your responses to show.
No, I don't think you do.
Okay. All right, so then what, so in their paper then they talked about, did they have graphic, did they do any of the?
Yes. Yes, so I graded like the technology part of it, the form that they actually created and sent out, and then their charts and stuff that they incorporated into their paper as a result of what their responses
to you,
were.
A hobby, talent, a way of expressing yourself. In your family, is dancing frowned upon. If you're sending it to mom and other people, then you don't want that. Automatically collect their username. Okay. So this is your title. This is just a little paragraph. And then it always gives you 2 questions. I wish it would give 1. I don't know why that bothers me. But it always gives you that second. But of course, you're going to want more. So once you have those, then add item, choose it. And even like this first one is a text, but if you decide you want a different one, of course you can. And here's where you would make it required or not. And that's it.
And it's great because you can do section breaks. So you can do section entries. You can do page breaks, so it's on multiple pages.
And then to change the theme, just right up there, and you can. We've used it like, I remember last year the sophomore class Christmas party, just send it all the sophomore class in, are you coming, you need a ride, just something like that, you know, really quick. I tried one for my family. I thought, you know, everybody moves and you can't ever, so I thought, well, I'll send this form to all my family, and everybody put their address.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but nobody would do it. I know. So anyway, because then it would all dump in a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, give them a break.
I guess.
Should have said it was for extra credit.
Yeah.
Don't do anything for extra credit.
So I think there's 97 themed. I kind of like the cloth one. I think that was a little bit anyway. All right. Well, questions, comments?
Can I go back
Yeah.
to the peer evaluation form that you were doing? Is
Mhm.
that, can you only do that in, like, I guess my question is one format, like a grid, like to dislike, good to bad, but can you also put in space for comments?
Yeah.
When you have a question, you know, what would make this presentation better?
Yes. Yeah, and I thought about
sort of
doing that
thing,
for
so they
the,
have their personal feedback into it.
yeah, one of the ones you can add is either text or paragraph text as a question. And so it would just be a matter of, I did it on a scale, you know, 1 through 5, but then you could also have another question that says, you know, what comments, you know.
Because when I'm having students do peer evaluation, I want verbal comments from them, preferably. Give that kind of a feedback opposed to
Right.
just giving me a number between 1 and 10.
Mine are doing that
Yeah.
in class.
And
That's,
it helps me evaluate then the evaluator as to their understanding of what's supposed to be done.
right.
Yeah, they could easily just be another question here, the text that they type in.
You can have every kind of question on the same
On this,
form.
yes, yeah, all those
So
different
you can
questions.
do comments,
So you can mix them up.
multiple
Yeah.
choice
Yeah.
check
Because you
boxes.
can follow up an evaluation numerically by a comment,
Yes.
Right.
and then do another evaluation
Yeah.
numerically by a comment.
You can put every one of them all on the same form.
Every question standalone, it's
Yeah.
whatever you want it to be.
But you said something about you can do page breaks and things like that on there?
Yeah.
And section, like where you have a section header.
I haven't messed with any of that yet.
I
So.
know with page break, is that separated on the spreadsheet or is it still?
I don't think it does.
It doesn't change the spreadsheet, it just changes.
No, it
the
doesn't
visual.
change the
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
just
so
on how
form,
they
edit
complete
form,
it.
get back in that one we were just in, and so it's an item you're adding, and there's a section break, page break.
Okay.
And what's really cool is it slides just like the questions. do.
Yes. you
Sure,
wanna
so like if you
move
put your
around.
section somewhere and you want it somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you just drag
Move
it.
it. Okay. Like that.
Yeah, the questions do that
And
too, which is,
then,
but again, that's why
Section.
that causes the problems in on your spreadsheet. Because,
This person.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
know where you're going first, because once you move them around on this, they don't move on the spreadsheet.
Oh.
So then you can be very confused.
And
Yeah.
you do get an end of the world if you like want to move that, but
But you
I'll
can
do the
move it.
disclaimer, I have
I've
moved
done it
them
too.
That too. I didn't find
many
anything
times
wrong.
and
Yeah.
I've never had a problem
I
with
know.
it, but
I think the
It might depend though on what kind of information
That's what
you're
I
gathering.
think, Cherie. I think
Yeah.
if you're doing something that is numerical,
Right.
I think then you're gonna have more of a problem
Mhm.
than if it's just text.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just don't wanna be the one that's responsible for the end of the world.
No, that's coming December 21st.
That's right.
there's only like 22 days left.
So to get around
To
it,
get your shopping done.
Trying to see, I don't think
you need to already have your
Holding off.
questions
Planned in my head.
or on a sheet of paper elsewhere.
Yes.
Don't be messing on this, so don't
Right.
be composing.
Shifting and
Yeah,
Not be
rearranging.
composing.
you want to have a plan before you go into it.
Mhm.
Somebody
Or
made a
start
good
over.
comment there in the chat.
Yeah, that's just what I've found.
Michelle, you need to check the
Nice.
comments
Michelle
on
was a
the
great
chat.
teacher. I could learn a lot from her. Isn't that nice? It's too bad it says your name. You
I
could
know,
have
I
been some
should've been
anonymous
somebody else.
person. I was trying to see if anyone else had joined us. I think all of our people are in the room, so.
Or in the- Oh, I think
Yeah.
hey, the app is great, both for the iPhone and I think Brent would say for the iPad. The only issue that I would say is when I'm looking at your screen, when I try to zoom in, it gets a little, I can
Does it?
zoom in as much as I want.
But you are
it's-
on you're on the phone.
It just gets a little, like overlay, the
Yeah.
letters are kind of echoing or something.
So the iPad's good? Is it doing fine on the iPad, Brent, or?
Yeah, it seems to be fine, it's
Yeah.
working.
He didn't have the same, his weren't quite as,
Yeah.
messed up.
Interesting. Hi, Dora.
But-
All right.
Yeah.
What else? Add to the templates, because we can
That's a
use,
great
I mean,
idea.
you know, like y'all's peer evaluation thing, because then once it's yours, you can change it and.
The other thing too, if you have a form that you want to do a different theme with, I know she said that you couldn't change the themes. I actually have taken questions out of a form and put them into a web page. That's like advanced like hacking of forms and things like that. But you can do stuff like that. It's possible to do. So you wouldn't want to do that with a form that you're going to be changing often or something like that. But if you have a form that is a long-term form and you want to put it and have it look different or have it on a web page or something, we can work those kinds of things out.
Like Howard and Commission could do that or something if you had.
Oh, Howard, just think of all the forms you could have for commission,
Like,
gathering data.
Oh, we're still recording.
We used this for Leap Day one year to collect a lot of stuff on Leap Day.
Oh,
That's really good because it graphs
yes.
everything for you.
Yes, that's a great idea. What else have you used it for?
I use it for class surveys, but I'm going to use it for what she did on my online classes to tell me something about you, and I have a little
Yeah.
that because I never quite get as much of that as I'd like.
Yeah, I know.
Even in their intros, right? Yeah.
So I think if I led them a bit with these surveys, they'd tell me a lot more.
Put it in their template. Then you can modify
That's a
it.
good idea.
And you can publish those summary of responses. And I think we figured out that it's not a live publish. Basically, it's a screenshot of those summary of responses. But once everybody's filled it out, then you publish it. I mean, that might be something you want to let them know.
Yeah.
We're going to
So
publish
who
this.
sees it?
Well,
Whoever you
it gives
share
you
the
like a
link.
link to a page.
Oh,
And so you would
that's
then-
neat.
So then you could
That's
then
really
take it and put
good.
that on my courses or something.
Yeah, like your candidate thing, then they could have seen.
Jody spent
Neat.
a long time putting tests in when he
Yes.
taught at
Yeah.
high school because they didn't have an
Yeah.
LMS or anything. And they were self-grading and everything.
Yeah.
And if I would have
It can
had
be doable.
that val merge, I could
Oh,
have
man.
easily sent them, they would have had an email at home.
With-
Actually,
to the
mom and
parent,
dad,
yeah.
I would have wanted to do mom and dad's email address. Where it would have emailed mom and dad that. And I could have gone in and matched those up.
Or like you said, you could have had one of the things to be, what is your parent's email address? I mean, to check it, but still.
Right.
And that would be to change that, name that column email.
Right. So there, I mean, the scripts, there are
they're so
a
neat that I didn't
ton of things that you can
understand.
do with scripts.
Yeah.
Because we have, like our evaluation form that we do on our courses, like you can set it up just by clicking a box where it'll let you know that someone has filled your form out, but there's a script you can run that I actually get all of the responses. Every time somebody fills that form out, I get an email and it tells me what they said. Instead of me having to constantly, oh, I got an email, so I got to go find that spreadsheet or whatever. I just have an email.
That's nice.
And that's where the order of questions comes into play, because all of those responses that I get, they come like not in the order of the spreadsheet, but in the order the questions were made. And we've moved stuff around. So again, that's it. We're going to recreate that form for next year.
Good. You do that.
When I say we, I
Go
mean
Jody.
There's one thing that I don't think you touched on that some that haven't worked with it before may not know, is that you can close your form and
Right.
quit accepting responses.
Oh, yes, that is good. Yeah.
And there's
Yeah,
probably a
that's good.
script that you could run that you would tell it what time to turn it off.
Yeah, to turn
You
it
wouldn't
off.
have to go in and remember to turn it off at
Yeah.
midnight or something. I'm guessing there's probably a
I
script.
had to do it because of students. Yeah, that would be interesting to see if there's a script that you could run that would do it, like you could set the time automatically.
Yeah.
And your deadline truly is your deadline.
Yeah.
And if there's not a script for that, if you want to learn to write scripts, that could be your first script you learn to write.
Montgomery.
No, I have a life thing.
You didn't used to apparently, because you used to do this. You've gotten to life.
Yeah,